Hi, I'm WSCAT instructor John Sample, and I will be presenting this module on IDEA and special education law. I've been a superintendent since 2016 for Merrill Area Public Schools, and prior to that, I was the Director of Special Ed and Pupil Services, also for Merrill Area Public Schools. My time prior to that was in the classroom, either as a program support teacher in the Wausau School District, and before that, all of my classroom experience as a special education teacher was in Arizona. And I know that we did things in reverse. Typically, people will move from Wisconsin to Arizona to be in the Valley of the Sun, and we went backwards. We were searching for a sense of community. We knew the reputation that the state of Wisconsin had for educational funding and the experiences of those people that we knew in Arizona that had grown up in Wisconsin. And so my wife is an art teacher. I was a special education teacher, and we decided to make the move just in time for our daughter to begin kindergarten in Wisconsin. What better place in this nation than to attend kindergarten in Wisconsin, where kindergarten originated? And so that's what we tell our friends in Arizona, and we have been very happy to call Wisconsin our home ever since then. I had a variety of different experiences that shaped me as a person and as a professional. I was attending Northern Arizona University, and I was about 3 semesters away from my student teaching when I decided to switch my major from tech ed, or actually it was shop classes, industrial education at the time, and phi ed, to working with students with disabilities, to becoming a special education teacher. I had finished, and you phi ed majors would appreciate this, I had finished my anatomy and physiology class, I had finished my kinesiology class, and I took one of my elective courses was adaptive physical education, and I absolutely fell in love with students with disabilities at that time. So I switched my major. I still remember that day of walking back into the dorm room to let my friends know that I would not be graduating with them as planned, and some of these kids I had gone to school with since 6th grade. So it was a nice experience for me. It certainly put my focus in check, and so I transferred to Arizona State University, where I received my bachelor's degree in special education and then my master's degree years later in secondary education and educational technology. So absolutely no regrets. I attended Edgewood College for the doctorate program for my doctorate, and that was achieved in 2009. I am a proud husband and father and a recent grandfather, and as I said, we love it here in Wisconsin. I love the roles and the hats that I wear, and those of you that have had me as an instructor, I know that we wear many hats, and I talk of that often about which hat to put on and when to wear it. So enjoy this module. As you go through, there's a lot of information here. This is not designed to go into great detail, and I'm not looking to inform everybody here to provide you the information that you can have to become a special ed certified teacher or a special ed director. This is a general overview for your role as a leader. And as always, there's links here that you can dive deeper into. And if you don't understand something, don't hesitate to ask myself or your instructor, or to look things up online. There's an awful lot of information out there. It's constantly changing, but this will provide you with a nice sound overview. Enjoy. The Individual with Disabilities Education Act is the nation's special education law. It is the cornerstone for ensuring the special education process and providing rights to students with disabilities. Prior to the reauthorization of IDEA, the Education for All Handicapped Children's Act was enacted in 1975. The field of special education has its own terms. Click on the links to familiarize yourself with the plethora of terms used in the area of special education. On a cautionary note, please avoid using acronyms, abbreviations, and unexplained terms when addressing those outside the field. As an administrator, also encourage others to speak in plain, easy-to-understand language, especially at IEP meetings. The use of acronyms can be confusing and intimidating to parents, and they are key members of the IEP team. Please see the 14 disability categories as authorized by IDEA. The most recent disability category is developmental delay. That comes to us as part of the reauthorization of Part C of IDEA. This slide, as well as the one that follows, provides the basic information associated with a student's individual education plan, or IEP. Please click on the link for information related to IEPs and IEP meetings. The LEA, or Local Education Agency, has an important role in IEP meetings. The LEA ensures provision or supervision of specifically designed instruction, is knowledgeable about general education curriculum, and maintains the availability of resources or funding provided by the district to meet the needs of the student. It is also important to note that the LEA has the authority to stop a meeting and reconvene later should the meeting come to an impasse or become heated. The LEA is typically a building administrator, but may also be a non-administrator, such as a counselor or school psychologist not associated with the student. Please carefully read and understand the definition of least restrictive environment, as its meaning is often misconstrued when considering the educational placement of a student. This slide shows the continuum of placement available when considering the least restrictive environment for a student. The ultimate goal is placement in the general education classroom with no supports. Read down the list for the continuum of placements available depending on the severity of the student's disability and/or performance. A professional pet peeve of mine is hearing a district proclaim themselves as an inclusion district. This insinuates that no student with disabilities requires a separate or a pull-out environment as their least restrictive environment. Remember, the least restrictive environment is that place where students can be most successful. Disruptions will occur. They happen in environments with students without a documented disability. For students with disabilities, please consider the supports necessary in any placement where disruptions may be expected. While it is required to place the student in the least restrictive environment to ensure their success, it is also important to identify these supports as to minimize the disruptive learning of others. Students with disabilities with an IEP are subject to disciplinary action, as are all students, but are under separate circumstances. Students with disabilities may be removed from their current placement on an interim basis, another setting altogether, and may be suspended for no more than 10 days. The 10-day rule applies to the entire duration of the school year. Once the student is approaching the 10-day mark, an IEP team meeting must be held to determine if the current placement is appropriate. A student with a disability may also be removed to an interim alternative educational setting, not to exceed 45 days, under the following two conditions identified on this slide. A manifestation determination must happen if the student's placement is considered due to disciplinary reasons. This slide contains important information for what is determined at this meeting and the factors that must be considered.
Most of the time, the school psychologist will take the lead in all manifestation determination meetings. Please click on the link for more information. 504 plans began as a plan to safeguard discrimination against students found to not be eligible for special education. While students may not qualify for services based on a documented disability, they may be eligible for supports through a Section 504 plan. There are many court cases referencing special education and the legal matters that have happened. Knowing how past court rulings have shaped the practices, procedures, and requirements in special education is important for all school personnel involved. Let's see how familiar you are currently regarding special education case law. Please click on the link to start your brief quiz. How did you do? It's okay if you didn't score 100%, as there is much to learn about special education and case law. Please read the following case, and you be the judge. What is your decision, and who was awarded in this case? The court declared the IEP a nullity. The district had to convene an IEP team and start anew. Never permit unilateral deviation from an IEP. IEPs may only be modified by the team at a meeting or if the parents and the district have agreed in writing that the team may, in lieu of convening a meeting, develop a written document to amend or modify a child's current IEP. While school districts certainly partner with attorneys when it becomes legally necessary, having a good understanding of special education law will behoove you as an administrator. As a building principal, the special education director will be a very valuable resource. If you are a special ed director, the personnel will look to you for guidance and decisions. The more familiar you are with the reauthorization of IDEA and the current special education requirements, the more effective you will be in supporting our students with disabilities to be successful. After all students deserve the opportunity for success and the chance to pursue their dreams after graduation.
Congratulations, you have reached the end of this module. If you have any questions at all, please contact your instructor via phone call or texting their cell. Please include your name if you're texting. You can also contact me via email. Thank you.